Welcome. I'm Sue King. I'm KPMG's SOX solution lead, and I'm joined today by Steve Estes, who's a partner in our internal audit practice working on our ESG initiative. And today we're going to talk about ESG and internal controls. So let's start off with Steve. Maybe you can just give us an overview of why ESG has suddenly become so topical.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. Enjoy the conversation. ESG is a topic, building off sustainability. It's been around for a number of years, but ESG has really become so topical from a number of factors. The regulatory environment that we talk about is one thing, but you're seeing on the financial side that investors, shareholders, institutional investors, private equity are really starting to put the pressure on organizations to not just think about profitability, but also think about their ESG response and what they're doing to address the environmental, social, and governance issues that are out there. And it's really across all industries.
I know that along with that has come kind of a lot of regulation and discussion about how it should be regulated, and it's certainly very fast moving. So maybe you can just give an overview of kind of what are some of the main changes that are happening from a regulatory perspective.
Yeah, here in the US, all eyes are on the SEC. And at one point, everyone was expecting in October, the SEC would come out with their direction on what future 10K filings would require from an ESG perspective. And really in three buckets. The expectations were that climate disclosures, diversity and inclusion, and even cybersecurity disclosures would be escalated and ramped up on a go-forward basis. October came and went, but everyone expects that day is coming, maybe by January. That direction is still going to come from what the SEC expects in those future disclosures, and the level of detail, including what the external auditor requirements could be around the auditing of the accuracy of that information. So, this day will come, and it could be a significant level of effort for companies to address. I guess, Sue, on that front, should companies wait, or why should companies maybe get started now and not just wait for the SEC to come out with some direction?
Yeah, no, I think it's a question a lot of people are asking, and I think the best way to describe it is, yes, they're still considering kind of what are the mandated disclosures going to be, but there's a lot of companies that are already out there, whether it's in a corporate social responsibility report or talking about their ESG goals in MD&A or in earnings releases. And so it's certainly one of the things that the SEC has started to write comment letters about and ask questions about, and they're looking for consistency of information. They certainly want to make sure that all investors and all parties are hearing the same information. So they're looking for, how do you make sure that you've got that consistent information in all of those different places? And then they're also asking the question about how do you make sure you've got good internal controls around it? So I think, while we don't know exactly where kind of the mandate is going to end up, we know that already you're covered by kind of the broader disclosure control requirements. And so that's where we're starting to see a lot of controllers and CFOs realizing, gosh, this is something that was perhaps being managed by general counsel or marketing or sustainability group. And now that the SEC is starting to ask comments, then you're seeing more controllers and CFOs, like I say, kind of getting more involved and starting to ask questions about internal controls and realizing, gosh, we've got to get started here.
Agreed. It's a red hot topic right now. And do you have any thoughts or perspectives on kind of the level of effort that's going to be required to address this? Right?
Yeah, and I know that we've talked a little bit about, kind of what are the parallels to SOX, and we certainly know that implementing SOX was a big effort. And ultimately, we think that implementing kind of internal controls or implementing kind of processes to capture information around ESG, it could actually be even more of more difficult or more of an effort than we had around SOX, just because you've got to operationalize a lot of these controls. They're not always metrics or data that you'd already been captured, and you don't have common systems in the same way as you do around having a general ledger with a standard set of accounting policies and so on. So I think the level of effort is going to be pretty high.
Certainly will. And then, you mentioned the kind of similarities to SOX. What are some of the lessons learned that we can kind of take from the years of doing SOX and getting it to a pretty sustainable process that we could apply to ESG?
Yeah, no, it is interesting kind of when we look back and say, if we knew then what we know now about SOX, what would we have done differently? And I think that the key is standardization and automation. And so I think particularly as you start driving some of these new metrics and saying, well, we've never captured this data before, you have a one-time opportunity to say, let's really decide on one standard process, one standard system, one standard way that we're going to capture this, that then we know, really allows you to drive some efficiency and effectiveness. So certainly hope that we can drive some of that and learn some of the lessons, like you said.
Agreed. Good discussion and a lot more to come.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.